Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geek Report, your look at everything from movies and games to TV and anime.
Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing good. Hope you all are doing happy, doing blessed, and doing overall safe. Welcome to your Geek Report for the week of January the 10th through January the 17th of 2025. We got a few news items to talk about, so let's get started. And we're going to start off in our TV and movie news segment. And our first news story in this area is going to be about the Daredevil Born Again trailer. I'm going to show you the trailer and just give you some of my overall thoughts and opinions on what I saw in this trailer. Then we're going to move on to Star Wars and we're going to talk about the end of Skeleton Crew. Now, this will not be a full-on review. I will do that later on in a special commentary. But I am going to make some thoughts and comments known to you about what I thought about Skeleton Crew and just overall what I thought about the series in general. Then we're going to move on into our gaming news. And we're going to talk about the worst kept secret in all of gaming finally being revealed. The Nintendo Switch 2. We're going to take a look at the trailer Nintendo dropped for it, and I'm just going to give you some of my thoughts and opinions on it. And then we're going to close out our Geek Report with some anime news. And we're going to talk about Castlevania Nocturne dropping its second season over on Netflix. We're going to take a look at some of the reviews for it, and I'm just going to give you some thoughts on it. So sit back, relax, grab yourself something to eat, grab yourself something to drink, and let's look at the Geek Report for the week of January the 10th through January the 17th of 2025.
Our first segment tonight is our movie and TV news segment.
So, starting off with our movie and TV news this week, we got a brand new trailer out of Marvel TV, and it is for Daredevil Born Again. Now, this is the upcoming Daredevil series that will officially introduce Daredevil into the Marvel MCU. So, we're going to take a look at this trailer, and I'm just going to give you some of my thoughts and opinions on it. But this is the trailer for the upcoming TV series that's going to be on Disney Plus, titled Daredevil Born Again.
Thank you for finding the time.
I will admit, it's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again. A lot of time has passed. By the look of it, you've come up in the world.
Now, we're already seeing Foggy and Karen back. Now, if you remember how the Netflix show ended, it ended with Foggy being a part of his own law firm and Karen kind of going away from the law firm and becoming a reporter. Okay? Whether or not they're going to stick with that, I don't know. And also what he said about some time has passed. Because I'm still in the mind that they are somehow going to use the blip on this, okay? They're going to use the blip to explain why he's been gone for so long, okay? So, that's just my overall opinion on it, okay? But I do get the feeling that they are going to use the blip to explain why he's been gone for so long.
I could say the same about you.
The mayor serves his city. I can see you're not entirely convinced.
Can you blame me?
Now, what they just said right there, and I'm going to go back, okay, for a second, and I want to see that again, okay? Because I want you to listen to that for a second and know what I'm talking about.
The mayor serves his city. I can see you're not entirely convinced.
Can you blame me?
So, what they're talking about there makes me think that this is going to connect directly to the Netflix shows, okay? Which, if they're doing that, that does leave the door open to Luke Cage. It leaves the door open to the Defenders. It leaves the door open for Iron Fist. It leaves the door open for Jessica Jones. It leaves the door open for all those Netflix shows to come on over, okay? It leaves the door for all those characters and all those actors to come on over as well, okay? It just depends on if they can keep what those shows did for this, okay? That's what it really depends on.
I can't shake the feeling that you're gaming the system.
Why did you stop being a vigilante?
The line was crossed.
Now, when he said a line was crossed right there, that's making me think that after the blip, he came back. Or maybe it was before the blip, okay? Maybe before the blip, he was still doing his vigilante thing, and something happened. And the way they've got this image right here makes me think that perhaps he hurt a police officer, okay? So I'm kind of wondering, when they say a line was crossed, does it mean that he may have killed a police officer? Okay, that's kind of where my mind is going at that moment.
It's hard to come to terms with a violent nature.
Now, this right here is Punisher, okay? And I'm going to try to back it up a little bit, because it looks like Punisher, okay?
Nature.
Yeah, it looks like Punisher. I can't really tell from this, but it does look like Punisher.
Hating the power it has over us.
This city can't go unchecked.
Sometimes peace needs to be broken.
Now, I'm looking at this, and is that Vanessa? Is Matthew Murdock actually getting it on with Vanessa? Because that definitely ain't Elektra. So I'm wondering, is that Vanessa? Because she was supposed to be Kingpin's wife. So I'm kind of wondering if that's what's going on here in this scene.
The chaos must reign.
Now there's the Punisher. Okay, there we go. There's the Punisher right there. And this already tells me, and I've already said it before, but this is just opening the door for his own series in the MCU. Okay?
Am I putting the hatchet down? I was raised to believe in grace.
Now, there we saw another, if I can get back here.
I was raised to believe in grace.
Right there. We saw White Tiger right here, okay? I don't know a whole lot about White Tiger, okay? But I do believe that he is more of a Luke Cage villain than a Daredevil villain. So this definitely tells me that they're not just going to stick with the Daredevil's rogue, okay? They're going to cross the rogue limit here, okay? All the rogues that were available to Luke Cage and Iron Fist and Jessica Jones may be available. But that does kind of beg the question, what does this say for the Purple Man? Because if you remember, in Jessica Jones, the Purple Man was killed. Okay? If you remember from Jessica Jones, her adopted sister was sent to the raft. You know, which is kind of like a super, super prison for people with abilities. Okay? So, what does that say for her? What does that say for Iron Fist? What does that say for Luke Cage? You know? And I really do hope that the show does leave those Easter eggs available for us to give us some answers about what's going on with these other characters.
I was also raised to believe in retribution.
And it's coming out on March the 4th. So there you have it. That was the trailer for the upcoming Marvel TV series, Daredevil Born Again. It'll be dropping on March the 4th. Just some points I want to make about this. I liked the trailer. I thought it was really well done. It seems like they're keeping the same type of frantic action that they started with over in the Netflix stuff. It does seem like they are continuing from the Netflix series, because They are bringing back Karen and Foggy. They're bringing back Punisher. They're bringing back Kingpin. They're bringing back Vanessa. And, I have to say I like the trailer. And while I'm not on the hype train for it yet, I am interested to see this. Okay? And I do have questions. My first question is, what's Frank's status? Okay? Because he looked like he wasn't being the Punisher anymore. Okay? Another thing is, what's going on with Matt Murdock and Vanessa? Because there was a scene on here that looked like Matt Murdock was in the shower with Vanessa. Okay? And we all know that Vanessa was Kingpin's wife and girlfriend. Okay? So, is there something going on there? Is there not only a power play that Kingpin is doing, but kind of a power play that Vanessa's doing? Okay? So, I'm kind of wondering about that. I'm wondering about, what line was crossed. But the main question is, how is the blip going to play in this? Okay? Because I feel that they are going to use the blip in this. Okay? The moment when Thanos snapped his fingers and half the universe was suddenly gone. Okay? I just get the feeling that it's going to play a very big role in this. Okay? Now, another thought I'm having when I watch this trailer is, could we be seeing a change at Marvel? The past couple of years, Marvel has not really gotten to give us something that we want. Okay? All their shows, what they've been calling the MCU, has been called the MCU. Because it's been all about girl power, men are stupid, women are great, and all this stuff. I didn't see that in here. Okay? And I'm having to wonder if maybe Daredevil Born Again isn't the first project that is having a sea change at Marvel. That we're not experiencing with Daredevil Born Again some type of complete change at Marvel TV and movies. Okay? And if so, what is this new Marvel going to look like? Okay? Is Daredevil Born Again going to be the only series this happens in? Or is it going to be like all the projects going forward? Or is it just going to be certain projects? Okay. I think this does open the door, though, for Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Daughters of the Dragon, The Punisher, any of the Defender stuff that we saw over on Netflix, that's now on Disney+. I think it opens the door for them to come into the MCU as well. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of those Easter eggs in this show. I honestly would not be surprised, and I really hope it kind of happens, if we see Jessica Jones pop up in Born Again. Because remember, she was a private investigator. So maybe Matt's working on a case and he kind of hires her to run a private investigation. Okay, but if that happens, that does beg the question, what about the Purple Man? What about Bullseye? What about all the people and characters we met over in the Netflix stuff? What about Luke Cage? Is he still running that club now? Becoming like the king of Harlem? I mean, what about Iron Fist? Danny Rand? What about what's going on with him? What about the Daughters of the Dragon? It leaves so many questions open, okay? So many questions open. If that's what they're doing here, if they are basically using Daredevil as kind of a doorway to introduce the Netflix universe that we know it as, then it leaves so many questions open about what about the Purple Man? What about Jessica Jones' sister? Because at the end of Jessica Jones, she was sent to like a high-tech prison called the Raft. Just all these questions, okay? But yeah, that was the trailer for Daredevil Born Again. It's going to be dropping March the 4th over on Disney+. It is going to be a series, not a movie. Let me say, as of right now, this trailer has not got me on the hype train yet. but it has made me interested to see this. But I don't want to get too hyped for this because I've been let down so many times by Disney before. But I did like the trailer. I thought it was a really good trailer. I thought it really showed the direction they're taking things at. And it is a direction similar to what the Netflix shows were doing. But I don't want to get on the hype train because I don't want to get burned. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Daredevil Born Again drops March the 4th. I have to say I'm very, very pleased by what I saw in this trailer. But I don't want to get too hyped for it because I don't want to get burned.
Continuing on with this week's TV and movie news segment.
So, continuing on with our TV and movie news this week, the final episode of Skeleton Crew dropped this past week. Now, this was season 1 of Star Wars Skeleton Crew, and I am going to do a more in-depth review later on, okay? But I kind of want to talk about it because, first off, I enjoyed this show. Without really getting too deep into it, I thoroughly enjoyed this show, okay? I thought this was a good show. It left off things, ambiguous enough that there could be a season 2. Was it a perfect show? No, but it was a good show, okay? But I want to talk about this because all week long, I've been seeing, news articles about how basically, Skeleton Crew is not getting enough viewers, that they're getting low viewers, and all this stuff. And I just kind of want to tell you what's going on from my opinion, okay? So, the reason you're seeing these news articles, and the reason that these news articles are true, okay, is because by the time Skeleton Crew came out, so much damage had been done to the brand of Star Wars that really no one cared about it anymore. Okay? Skeleton Crew is not a bad show. Okay? Okay, I do not believe it is a bad show. Okay? Does it have its problems? Yes, I'm not going to deny it. But it's not a bad show. The reason that no one's tuning into it or you're seeing these news articles is not because they're lying about the low viewership, because that is, flat out true. It's because of the simple fact that so much damage has been done to the Star Wars brand at this moment, okay? I mean, you've had the bad episodes of Mandalorian Season 3, especially after what we got in Season 2. You had such a letdown in Season 3. Then you have the Gina Carano drama going on with, Gina suing Disney, which she's well in her right to do, okay? I am not blaming her for anything, okay? If anything, I blame Star Wars for that whole situation. And then you had the Acolyte, okay? Which was by far one of the worst shows I've ever seen, okay? There is no doubt about in my mind how bad the Acolyte is, okay? And then you had Skeleton Crew, okay? Skeleton Crew was by far better than the Acolyte. It was a lot more fun, and it did something that I'd not seen in Star Wars in a long time, and it brought back adventure to Star Wars, okay? So, to kind of wrap this all up, Skeleton Crew, to me, is a good show, and I will do a more in-depth review later on. But I like this show. I thought this was a good show, okay? But I think that the reason you're probably seeing all these news articles about low viewership and all that stuff is because at this point, Star Wars has been so damaged by such bad decisions that even when we do get good shows coming from Star Wars, no one wants to watch them. Okay? And I think really at this point, people are tired of having to watch all the nonsense and watch all the garbage in order to find these moments of clarity and moments of jewels, okay? They're tired of sifting through all the crap to find those moments of goodness, okay? So, in closing, I just want to say Skeleton Crew was a good show. It came out at a bad time. And I'm going to do a more in-depth review later on as soon as I get my head wrapped around everything and I watch the final episode a couple more times. But yeah, just a kind of a preview, I did like Skeleton Crew, but the whole reason that it is not getting the views that it should is because such damage has been done to the brand by this moment that really no one cares about Star Wars right now. Okay, and I do think that that is a crying shame because the crew of Skeleton Crew did a good job on bringing us a good Star Wars show.
Now it is time for our gaming news segment.
Now let's move on into our gaming news segment. And the one and only story that we got this past week out of our gaming news segment is what could only be described as the worst kept secret in all of gaming. For about a year now, we've had all these leaks and rumors about an upcoming Nintendo console called the Nintendo Switch 2. Okay? And we've had all these leaks and rumors, but they all said the same thing. It was coming. Well, finally, we got an official trailer for the Nintendo Switch 2 console. Okay? This is going to be an upgraded version of the Nintendo Switch. It's supposed to have a couple of extra features with it, and it's also supposed to have exclusive games that will play on it, as well as being able to play Nintendo Switch games. So those games you've got now for the Nintendo Switch, you'll be able to play for the Nintendo Switch 2. But Nintendo Switch 2 games will not be able to be played on Nintendo Switch. Okay? So let's check out the trailer. Let's see what's revealed to us finally, officially by Nintendo. And I'll just give you some of my thoughts and opinions on it. But this is the trailer for the official reveal of the next console from Nintendo called the Nintendo Switch 2. So first off, we're getting a bigger screen. Now that looks like a USB-C port right there. So we're getting a different type of port for Nintendo Switch 2. Now, we've been hearing about this for a while now, that they were going to come out with a better kickstand for the Nintendo Switch 2. We're now getting it confirmed. So it seems like, if not all the leaks, then most of the leaks have been legit in terms of what we're getting with the Switch 2. Now, it looks like we're getting bigger Joy-Cons. So, for those who have big hands, you'll be able to, actually manipulate them a whole lot better than you were the old ones. Now this right here is really interesting to me, and I'm going to back it up a little bit and show you what I'm talking about, okay? So that whole scene where they're like sliding on the table or whatnot, it's making me wonder if perhaps the Switch 2 controller Joy-Cons are going to act like mice, like a mouse would on a computer. And I'm wondering if that's going to be incorporated into some games. If so, that would be very, very cool. Okay, that would be very, very cool. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm getting at with that, is that you see the Joy-Cons, just sliding on the ground. And it looks like you would manipulate them the similar way you would manipulate a mouse. So I'm wondering, because where my mind is going is that instantly tells me right there that these Joy-Cons are going to be able to basically be used as mice. Okay? That they're going to be able to basically be used as mice, or a mouse would be on a computer. And I'm wondering if that may not be incorporated into some type of strategy game later on. If that's not going to be incorporated into a strategy game. If that ain't a way for Nintendo to start reaching out to some of these strategy publishers like Firaxis, who's bringing out Civilization 7, and say, hey, instead of having to do the whole controller thing, incorporate the Joy-Con mouse controls with it. Okay? I'm wondering if that's where we're going with that. Okay, now that whole scene right there really tells me that we are getting the magnetic locks, okay? But what worries me is in the center of the screen, that band right there, that connection right there, okay? That's concerning to me in that how easy is that going to be able to be broken? And I'm going to go back and show y'all again what I'm talking about. Okay, that right there. Okay, that's what the Joy-Con is going to connect to in order for them to stick together and connect to the actual screen. Okay? How strong is that going to be? That's my concern. Is that if this is not being exactly marketed to children, okay? But for people who are kind of rough on their stuff, if that breaks, are they going to have to get a whole new Nintendo Switch 2? Is there going to be a way to replace that? A simple way to replace that connector. How strong is that connector? I mean, if you're pulling and pushing on the Joy-Cons, how long will it last? That is a real concern with me. In terms of, like, if you break that, are you going to have to buy a whole new Nintendo Switch 2? Okay? Now we're getting a preview of the upcoming Mario Kart that's supposed to be coming to the Switch 2. Everyone's assuming this is Mario Kart 8 or something like that. I'm not into Mario Kart, so I'm just letting y'all know that, but still. And there's the dock. It looks like we're getting a bigger dock for this one. And there you have the official controller, where instead of playing it mobile, you can put it into a controller dock and it'd be like a secondary controller. It's kind of big, but that's okay, especially with people with big hands. I'm just worried about people who have kind of small hands. Will they be able to manipulate it easily? In 2025. So I'm expecting this will come out Christmas, fall of 2025. And there you see you can play not only Nintendo Switch exclusive games, and let me shorten this up a little bit. So it says right here that you can play not only Nintendo Switch exclusive games, but you'll be able to play Nintendo Switch games as well. So the way it's going to work is that if you already have a Nintendo Switch and you already have games for it, you'll be able to play those games on the Switch 2. Okay? But as far as Nintendo Switch 2 games, you'll have to buy a whole new Nintendo Switch 2 for that. Okay? And there, right there, we're going to get another Nintendo Direct coming in April, which is basically like a PlayStation showcase or anything, where they talk about everything going on with the Switch 2. And there you have the Nintendo logo. So that was the trailer for the Nintendo Switch 2. So that was the trailer for the Switch 2. And just to kind of run over what I talked about, I like the whole idea of them using Joy-Cons as a computer mouse. Okay? I think that is very interesting and very unique for strategy games. Real-time strategy games, turn-based strategy games. I think that is a way for them reaching out to these game developers like Firaxis and saying, hey, we can handle your strategy games because we got the Joy-Cons that act like mice. Okay? I think that would be very useful in, say, a strategy game. But as far as saying a first-person shooter or action-adventure game, I really don't see how that would work out unless it would be part of some type of puzzle. Okay? Like a Tomb Raider type puzzle for that. So I'm worried that that's just a gimmick. Okay? And I really don't want it to be a gimmick. Okay? I really don't want it to be a gimmick. I want it to be a useful and actually, upgradable part of the Switch 2. Okay? I like the fact that you're going to be able to play Switch games on here. Okay, I like the whole backwards compatibility thing because it means like you could just buy the system and then play an old Switch game until you can play a Switch 2 game. Okay, I like that whole aspect of it. The colors, I'm hoping you'll be able to buy different Joy-Con colors, which they did with the last Switch. So I'm assuming they'll do with this one. They just haven't talked about it yet. But I like the whole bigger screen thing. The only concern I have with the bigger screen and the bigger controller is that if you have small hands, it might be a little bit hard to manipulate. But I like the whole idea of the bigger screen. I am kind of curious about how long the battery life will last with this Switch. Okay, that's another thing. Because, most people who buy a Switch, they buy it because they want to be able to play mobile. Okay? So I'm kind of wondering how that's going to work out in terms of mobility and how long you're going to be able to play your Switch 2 game. Okay? I like the fact that they are going to have a USB-C port so that way you won't have to get a special type of connector for the Switch 2 to charge it or to link it or whatnot. I am concerned about the Joy-Cons in that the magnetic connection for that is really cool. Okay, I think that's really good. It's a really good way so that way when you put your Joy-Cons on there, you know that they got something holding them on there. Okay, what I'm concerned about is the connector, that small little itty bitty tiny little connector. And if I can find it on here, I'll get it. So let me see here. That right there is concerning to me. Because if that's the only way the Joy-Con is going to be able to talk to the Switch 2 when it's connected, okay, then then how strong is that going to be? Really, how strong is it going to be? Because for a normal usage person, child, kid, adult, whatever, they're going to be snapping them back on and off, okay? And there are going to be times where they miss them. So how strong is that going to be? That's my question, is how strong is that going to be? What happens if that gets dirty? Okay, and I'm not talking like you rolling it around in the mud or anything. I'm talking about just normal dust and grime. How easy will it be to clean off? Can you use isopropyl alcohol for it or something? What happens if you break that? Do you have to go out and buy a whole new Switch 2? Or will it be easy to repair? Okay, that's a real concern to me in terms of that. But another concern I have, and this is just a concern, this is really a major concern I have, is the games. Obviously the games. Now, I'm expecting Mario to be out, okay? And I'm talking about launch titles, okay? I'm expecting Mario, okay? I'm expecting Metroid. We obviously got, Mario Kart, okay? But I'm talking about a standalone Mario game also. So I'm expecting that. We're also got hints that Metroid Prime 4 will be a Switch 2 exclusive game. So expecting that as well. I would not be surprised to hear of a Zelda game or a Zelda port, some type of port from the Switch to the Switch 2, okay, with better graphics and that sort of thing. Do I think they've got a brand new Zelda game going on? It would not surprise me in the least bit, okay? What I'm also worried about in terms of the Switch 2 is not just the games, but the price, okay? You know, you sit here and you see Sony pricing their console at almost $800. Xbox is doing their console at around $600 to $500. Okay? If the Switch 2 is too highly priced, then the fact that they don't have a whole lot of games at launch is going to be negated by the fact that people are going to look at that and say, why am I spending $500 for a Switch 2 when I could just go over here and spend $500 on an Xbox Series X that has more games to it? Okay? I think that's really going to determine the success of the Switch 2 at launch. Will be the games available and the price.
Now let's take a look at the news from the world of anime that piqued my interest this week.
To kind of close out our Geek Report this week, I wanted to talk about one story in the anime news segment. And that was that Castlevania Nocturne Season 2 has dropped on Netflix. Now, I'm not going to be able to watch Nocturne because I don't have Netflix. Okay? But over on Rotten Tomatoes, we're going to check out some of the audience scores for it. What they're saying about it. So, Graham is saying he loved it much better than Season 1. He said there's others here. I'm seeing a lot of 5 stars. A couple of 1 stars from anonymous users. Albert S. says, just amazing. I loved every single one of the episodes. I loved the backstories and how everyone got time to shine. Someone said that this show is perfect for modern audiences, made to cater to the alphabet people. You know, the alphabet people. Members of the movement will love it. Fighting vampires and evil and side quests in this show. Okay. So, not too good. It's incredible how a show can only get better and better with each season. Insane animation. Absolute masterpiece. Magnificent display of animation. Season was the best. I mean, it's just 5 star after 5 star. Okay. Now, I never really saw the first season of Castlevania Nocturne. I've seen clips of it, but not the full-on season. So, I really don't know what to think of this. Alright. But it is out there. It is on Netflix. And you know, I just kind of wanted to talk about it because from what I remember of the clips I've seen of the first season of Nocturne, it looks to be a good anime. Okay? Based on Castlevania, one of the popular video game franchises out there. Okay? I'm curious, you know, if it came on somewhere else, I would go and watch it. But I am very curious about it. You know, I would love to see some of the episodes of Season 1, full-on episodes. And I'm curious how Season 2 is doing in terms of animation. And what got me kind of worried when I was reading the reviews was how they were saying that this was perfect for modern audiences, which already sends up red flags for me. But yeah, Castlevania Nocturne has dropped over on Netflix. I'm not sure if they're going to do the entire season all in one drop or if they're going to do like a weekly thing. But it is over on Netflix. And, you know, I hope it's a good anime. I really do. So everyone, that is your Geek Report for the week of January 10th through January the 17th of 2025. To kind of recap what we all talked about, we first started off in our TV and movie news segment, and we talked about the new Daredevil Born Again dropping their first official trailer. I gave you some of my thoughts and opinions on it. Then we talked about Skeleton Crew, the Star Wars series, ending its first season. And while I did not give you a full-on review, that will be coming later, I did talk a little about it. Then we went over into our gaming news, and we talked about the Nintendo Switch 2 being announced by Nintendo, their next console after the Nintendo Switch. And finally, we finished everything off in our anime news segment, and we talked about Castlevania Nocturne dropping its second season over on Netflix. I hope everything's going good with everyone. I hope you're doing well and doing safe. Check out my video and my social media sites at the end of this video below. I will see you guys in the next video and in the next stream. Laters.
Thank you for watching this week's Geek Report. I hope you enjoyed it. Please check out my other video sites as well as my social media. And if you can please, leave a like and a comment on this video. We will see you guys in the next video and the next stream. Laters.